Good morning, everybody. I think we'd all agree it's pretty important that our political leaders communicate with us. And a master of communication was Franklin Roosevelt, who used the radio pretty effectively. And it was on this date, March 12 in 1933, that he gave his first fireside chat. FDR was born in 1882, got polio in 1921, and was governor of New York in 1928, 4 years before he was elected. And he carried on as if he had no polio. And in 1929, as governor of New York, he gave a radio address. And some people see this as the forerunner to the fireside chat. 1929, the stock market fell. The beginning of the Great Depression happened. People had no idea what to do. And in the 1932 election, FDR clobbered Herbert Hoover. Many people blamed Hoover for the Depression. That was simplistic, but FDR was a change, and he was vague in what he was going to do, but he had lots of promises. And when he was inaugurated in March of 1933, he said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So he was going to take drastic action to somehow try to pull us out of the Great Depression. And one of the things he did was close all the banks a few days after he was inaugurated. This was very dramatic. All the banks were closed, and his first fireside chat, our event, March 12, 1933, he explained what was going on with the banking crisis and why he did that and so on. And why did he go to the radio? Well, one of the reasons was many of the major newspapers were against him, like the Hearst chain. They hated Roosevelt. They just didn't like him for all kinds of reasons, so he saw the radio as a good option. And the idea was, just as you'd welcome someone to come into your house and sit around the fire, he was welcomed into your house and you sat around the radio. So that's why Fireside Chat got its name. And they weren't held in the Oval Office. They were held in where foreign guests would visit the White House, in that room. And he was known for using common language. So here's a list of the 1,000 most common words in the English language, and FDR used about 80% of those. So he tried to speak to common people, and now this timeline reminds us he was president for 4 terms, at least he was elected 4 times, only 31 fireside chats. One of them, May 7, was to explain the New Deal. This was these government programs to try to get people to work and get them out of the Great Depression. So he really picked his topics for the fireside chats. Another one was when Social Security got started in 1935, explaining that to the American people, because that was new, that the government would actually kind of take care of senior citizens. You might recall he tried to, air quote, hack the Supreme Court, and he did a fireside chat explaining that. It kind of backfired on him, but it's something he tried. And then, a few days after Germany invaded Poland, and here's a picture of the Blitzkrieg, he came on the radio to talk about the European War. This is a couple years before Pearl Harbor. But when Pearl Harbor was attacked, December 7, 2 days later, he came on the radio to talk about that. So 31 times he was on the radio during his over 4,000 days of being president. In October 5, 1947, Harry Truman was the first president to speak to the people on TV in kind of a live thing. And some of us recall the televised debates between Kennedy and Nixon during the campaign of 1960. So we definitely moved from radio over to television. The first president to have an email account was Bill Clinton. So you can see Bill on pretty old computer. And of course, email is something we all use now. And today, everybody uses some kind of social media. But one of the first practitioners of mass communication was Franklin Roosevelt with his 31 fireside chats.